Today, we're diving into history as we visit the Nelson Mandela Capture Site near Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. Buckle up, it's going to be an interesting ride. So, for those who don't know who Nelson Mandela was, where have you been living? He was a legendary man who fought for equality and against racism in South Africa. Imagine being so iconic that the whole world knows your name. That's Mandela for you. A little history lesson. After years of British colonial rule, Mandela became South Africa's first black president. Yes, folks, we were colonized by the British for hundreds of years. No wonder so many of us speak English with a twist of "how's it" and "bri" thrown in. We've arrived at the capture site, and let me tell you, it's more than just a spot on the map. It's a museum and a sculpture that we'll be exploring. First up, you drive in past some proudly fluttering South African flags and a huge field. Did you know it's winter in South Africa right now, even though it's July? Yep, different seasons in different parts of the world. Mind-blowing, right? And no, we don't see the moon at the same time as you or everyone else, but that's a story for another day. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with history and geography. I mean, I'd choose a historical site over a shopping mall any day. Who needs new shoes when you can get a dose of the past? Upon reaching the site, the first stop is the ticket office. Grab your tickets, folks, because we're about to step into history. Entering the museum, the first thing you see is a classic black car. Not just any car, but the one Nelson Mandela was arrested in. Imagine getting arrested for trying to make the world a better place. Mandela spent 27 years in prison for standing against inequality and racism. I can't even handle 27 minutes without Wi-Fi. The museum is packed with quotes from Mandela, video projections, and an exhibit that takes you through his life. There's even a curio shop for souvenirs. It's like a walk through his life, both heartbreaking and inspiring. One of the coolest parts? Lifting up a speaker to hear the story of each exhibit. It's like an old school podcast, and I'm all for it. Check out the bowl, spoon and plate Mandela used in prison on Robben Island. It's humbling and a bit surreal. Also on display are letters he wrote to his daughters and pictures of him and his wife. The man was a legend, and his arrest made headlines worldwide, highlighting the brutal realities of apartheid. Kind of reminds you of the ongoing struggles in the world today, doesn't it?
To be a future president of South Africa.
One of the mistakes which some political analysts make is to think that their enemies should be our enemies. Our attitude towards any country is determined by the attitude of that country to our struggle. Yasser Arafat. As far as Yasser Arafat is concerned, I explained to Mr. Sidney that we identify with the PLO because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination.
Here's something interesting. Nelson Mandela wasn't the only one fighting for equality. The museum also mentions a remarkable woman named Fatima Meer. She was a Muslim activist who stood up against apartheid. Fatima Meer was a close ally and friend of Mandela and played a significant role in the fight for justice. There's also a replica of the Nobel Peace Prize Mandela won. Now, let's stroll to the Nelson Mandela Monument via the Long Walk to Freedom path. On the way, you'll find metal boards marking significant years in Mandela's life. It's like a historical breadcrumb trail. As you approach the monument, you'll see about 50 metal beams. At first, it looks like modern art gone rogue, but as you move closer and change your angle, voila! Mandela's face appears in an optical illusion. It's a perfect blend of art and history, and I'm truly a fan of optical illusions and puzzles. So there you have it. A visit to the Nelson Mandela Capture Site, packed with history and a whole lot of respect for a man who changed South Africa.